Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Canadian Bowler Podcast. Mike Petuli here today with Daryl Fitzgerald, and we're being joined by a special guest, Barrie Lester. Thanks for coming, Barrie.
Thanks very much for having me.
So one of the things we like to do when we start out interviewing someone is we kind of let you have the floor, sort of give us an introduction to you, who you are today. So give us a little introduction to who is Barrie Lester today.
Barrie Lester today is someone that's about to turn 40 very soon. So that's not the greatest intro. I would have loved to say 30, but I'm turning 40 on the 24th of January. Age is only a number, but yeah, look, I'm really keen to start a really exciting new year and starting off with a milestone in my age, and then hopefully picking up a few milestones out on the bowling green. So I've been playing the game for 25 years now. Took the game up playing under my dad. I had a few injuries playing other sports and found that I might be pretty good at bowls and I also won't get injured. So those two things I really enjoyed, and loved spending time with my dad as well playing bowls, and soon found out it was a safe, mature environment to be in, a bowls club, and enjoyed the company of my elders and the real community side of things, and just fell in love with the sport. But as a real young person through primary and high school, super competitor, wanted to be an athlete from as far as I can remember. Always wanted to be an athlete first or a sportsman first, and then bowls just ended up being my chosen sport. So been lucky enough to now play multiple Commonwealth Games and World Championships and travel the world, and be lucky to be part of the Jackaroo squad on and off for about 15, 16 years. So yeah, very fortunate to have played the game for so long and reached the heights I have, and it's a very humbling experience being able to play for your country and represent your state, and etc. And I don't take that for granted, and yeah, really enjoy the position I'm in, and really like helping others around me at the same time.
That's awesome. I'm actually on the wrong side of 40. I'm now 41. And I've got
What's
the
it
white.
like?
You don't have the white showing up. I have the white.
Oh,
So.
got a couple coming through, yeah. But the barber fixes that up.
Nice, very nice. Just to round out your highlights, we've noted 2 World Outdoor medals, 3 Commonwealth Game medals, and you're currently the bowls coordinator at the Burleigh Heads Bowls Club. So before we get into your bowls career, in Canada we don't have a lot of paid employees at clubs. It's a lot of volunteer stuff. For your position, what do you do at the club as a bowl coordinator?
Well, one of the core areas is definitely sponsorship. So promoting the game, promoting the club, promoting our position in the community and the impact it has. So we're a highly visual club. So we have millions of people drive past yearly. So we have a great position. So where sponsorships want to get involved, and so we hit them with the numbers and tell them that it's a great opportunity for their business to not only promote their own business, but to get involved with a community club. So I really like getting involved in that side of things. It's a competitive part of my job. So being a competitive person, that's what I really like. Running the day-to-day competitions, club championships, and then trying to promote juniors, running a junior scholarship program, in which we have a junior academy, and we try to sign up scholarship holders year to year, in which then the club supports them to go on and be bigger and better at what they are currently through the support. So it's a multifaceted role, working with the board of management under our general manager, Justin O'Donnell, funding for grants, looking at facility upgrades, upgrading our bowling facilities at all times, and just looking to do things better and smarter. One of the current things we're looking to do at our club is be a bit smarter with our carbon footprint. So make sure we're smarter with our paper use and our power use and water use, etc. So it's, like I said, it's a multifaceted role to make sure that the bowl side of things are ticking along well.
Wow.
Yeah, it sounds like it's actually a thing that a lot of Canadian clubs should try to implement. I think few clubs do have not so much a bowl manager, but it's essentially a paid staff member. But that's actually a great idea to sort of touch all those bases that you're sort of talking about there.
Thank you.
So you're part of the Jackaroos. You had lots of, obviously it's a legendary team. lots of up and coming superstars. What does it take to make that team but maintain your spot on that team?
I think the one of the ones that always stands out for me is making, I guess, it a priority. So choosing what you want to do in life. We want to put what we love and care about in our life as a priority. So obviously our family and our work, but for me, I love the game of bowls. I love being a part of the Jackaroo's environment. I love trying to learn and develop my game day to day, year by year. And there's no better place to be than part of the Australian Jackaroo squad to do that. And so I've made it a huge priority in my life for many years, sacrificed so many things. I was just chatting to one of my best friends just the other day, and he had a wedding anniversary, and I couldn't reminisce about his beautiful day because I wasn't there. I was actually competing at the World Championships. So when a photo comes up of someone's wedding anniversary and you couldn't make it, it does sting a little bit. But once again, they're good friends and they're family and so on. So they understand what my life revolves around in terms of my sport and my commitment. So making it a priority, and then after knowing what your priorities are, I'm a bit of a goal setter. I like to write things down. I think everything I choose to do, I'll write it down. But once you know what your priorities are, and then you can allocate what time is required. So if it means a certain amount of hours, days, weeks of the year, and then you go from there. So that's how it sort of rolls for me. I was first a member of the Australian Jackaroos in 2005, and 17 years later, can you believe it? I'm still hanging around. I had some time out between 2009 and 2012, and where I simply had other priorities in my life at the time, and that I had to address, and I made sure I got back on top of those to work my way back into the Australian Jackaroos team. It's never a given to be selected. Like you say, it's a legendary team. It's a lot of good players, so you just want to continue to work hard and know that when a big event comes around or a selection event comes around, that you've done all the hard work to deserve your spot.
So with everybody that's on the team, and you've got a lot of young guys coming up, and people like yourself who have been there for quite a while and have a good foothold in it, what are you doing to prepare yourself to compete for the spot to go to Birmingham?
One of the first things we're lucky to do is, and we can lean on past players or even our current coaching staff. So Australian coach Gary Willis, assistant coach Karen Murphy, they've been there, done that, played at the highest level. Both Karen and Gary played in the Manchester 2002 Commonwealth Games. Manchester and Birmingham only up the road from each other. So we can lean on them directly about what it's like to prepare and play in a Commonwealth Games, on that soil. Then our previous coach, Steve Glasson, same thing, been there, done that. So being able to lean on past players and reach out to them, and we've got a really good, strong network for that. So that's one part of advice or resource we must use. And then knowing from there what is required. So for me, I've always considered myself and wanted to be an athlete first, and then, like I said, a lawn bowler second. And that requires living healthier each day, eating well, exercising, and making sure that the training we are doing somehow replicates as close as it can be to the conditions we'll be playing, whether it be indoor, outdoor, southern hemisphere, northern hemisphere. So knowing the conditions you're about to play in. And we're pretty lucky here in Australia. As you mentioned before, you don't have many paid employees at your clubs, but here in Australia we do. And we can speak to greenkeepers about maybe changing the conditions of the surfaces to suit our training or our preparations for events if they can. We've got many clubs with indoor, outdoor, and so on. So using the resources and whether it be people or actual product, and then lining yourself up with that pre an event. So if you want to get selected for something like a Birmingham, knowing what's required. And I think when I speak about talking to other players, I think technique will come into that a lot as well. So what techniques involved in adjusting your delivery and how to play to the conditions with consistent performance.
It's like you've been part of many major different competitions, so Commonwealth Games, World Bowls, BPL, UBC, long list. If there's any event that you've competed in that stands out above the rest?
Playing in a Commonwealth Games is, I think, is the pinnacle along with World Championships. But I think the thing that comes with the Commonwealth Games is that you get to meet other high-profile athletes. There's media involved. You get to be in the village and live like it's sort of, you watch high-profile sports on TV like NBA and stuff, and you think they live this unreal, cool, professional life, and we get to sort of live that for a couple of weeks, where there's food halls and stuff like that, and you get sort of chauffeured around. So I think that whole experience is the pinnacle. We see the World Indoor Championships on at the moment over in Potters. I've been over there quite a few times, been lucky enough to experience that environment. That is a tremendous event, at a great venue, played on a portable rink, and that's one that I've always held in high regard. We're very fortunate with the BPL and UBC that we call them the hybrid or the franchise events. I play with Dandenong on club, and to do well in those over the last few years is amazing. You get to play up to the TV a bit, be pretty relaxed. I was rocking the cornrows last year. You'll see a few wacky hairstyles and a few pretty cool celebrations, and it's, I think, a great opportunity for the players to let their hair down, have some fun, but at the same time know that they want to go out and win, and it's a really good competition. So they're ones that sort of stand out for me, the ones you've sort of rolled off. But the one that's probably most close to home in terms of sentimental is a couple of local ones. We play a Trans-Tasman, so we always play against New Zealand every 12 months or 18 months. And a Trans-Tasman is a local rivalry. So I'm not sure what you've got back home over there, something similar, but you can't beat that sort of local rivalry. And there's just something about it. You get out there and play for Australia against New Zealand, the Trans-Tasman rivalry. And so some of those events close to home are very passionate and mean a lot to me as well.
Yeah, the closest thing we have to that here in Canada is we call it the NAC, the North American Challenge, and that's where we play the States. So it's Canada versus the United States, and that's a pretty hardcore rivalry in a lot of other sports. So to have that in bowls, and we're the only really two big bowling nations in North America, so it's really all we have, but it's so much fun, like you said, to roll up your sleeves, play for Canada, and try to beat down the United States. Always fun. You can't beat it. We're lucky with the states and territories, not as many as over there, but we have state versus state quite regularly, and then all the states come together and we play an Australian sides championship. So every state's trying to beat each other to be the best state champions of the country. So that one's really cool. The Alley Shield, that's a great event. Been lucky to win that one twice over 20 years, so that's how hard it is to win it. But that one for me is close to home as well, because representing your state is a very privileged event here as well in Australia, because you look at a state, say the size of New South Wales, close to 1,000 bowls clubs. A lot of people trying to make a side with only 12 people in it. So it's pretty competitive stuff.
Yeah, I can relate to the provinces that we have. So we have a tri-province challenge where 3 provinces play against each other, and we're developing a Western Canadian championship, but then would have been the 4 provinces in the West. But with COVID, it's kind of gone on the back burner a bit over the last couple of years, so it didn't actually come out. But I relate to that, where it's fun to play for your province, your state, or whatever it is, and then play against another group of 10 or 12, whatever it might be, and sort of see who comes out over a span of a couple of days. It's a fun event to play a part in.
Good stuff.
So
yeah, Daryl.
I was going to say, you're a member. You mentioned the BPL, and you're a member of the Melbourne Pulse. You've been with that team for a while now. What do you think of the format of the BPL? Is that something that possibly could translate to something not just in Australia, but more international?
Most definitely, yeah. You can grab that format and run it at Clubland for sure. Maybe just trial it, just get your club versus another club and just say, we're just going to have a hit out one day a week, or we're just going to run it under this format. We can send you the details. I'm pretty sure I've got some stuff already at home or on my computer that's just cut up the cards already. And, yeah, we play a bit of that stuff locally. So, yeah, why not? Give it a go. So, yeah, with the scoring system and the power play is pretty popular out there at Clubland now. They might play a corporate challenge where businesses and they come together and play against each other, and 9 times out of 10 they'll throw in a power play. I've played in tournaments where you're not allowed to play any driving shots. It's purely just draw, and if the jack leaves the rink, the jack has to get re-rolled down the green. It's just like you can do so much different stuff, and it's so great that Bowls Australia has come up with that initiative to make it more of a hybrid event. They saw the trends happening with so many other sports, with the cricket, with the Big Bash cricket, the short formats and stuff, like the IPL in India. So it's great that all these sports are now having these short, sharp formats, and we play across 4 or 5 days. We play about 15 or 16 games. So it's a big format, but it's so fun, short, sharp and exciting. And I recommend it definitely. And it's a really good one for beginners, just to keep them, keep them interested in the game, I guess. I just keep them sort of more aroused, bowl by bowl, knowing that there might be a shot that can really change the game, e.g. a power play, etc. So that's where your beginners, you can give them a go at that as a sort of a stepping stone. From there, they'll transition into maybe some of the more traditional formats.
Okay. Like, one of the things we've been sort of seeing with different news articles is Commonwealth Games could be on a little bit of a shaky ground. There's kind of talks about how the formats that are being used there maybe aren't as TV friendly, things like that. So what do you think Bowls maybe needs to do to sort of lively itself up, make it more mainstream for bigger audiences worldwide?
Well, I'm always one of those ones that loves the tradition of the game, but I'll also do anything I can to modernise and spice up the sport and get it out there to mainstream media. I try to do as much as that I can within the rules and regs of the sport. I do look at other sports and I go, wow, there's so much going on top of the sport. Like, I love going to the Formula One Grand Prix here in Australia, in Melbourne. But you go to the races, and I'm only probably going to see Daniel Ricciardo because he's Australian, but I'm probably going to the races because there's so much else going on as well. I think so the more we can promote the game, in which we're doing really well here in Australia, BPL, you can go along to the BPL. There'll be some marquees where you can buy apparel and stuff, and there'll be music going and stuff. So to make it a fanfare event. So the Commonwealth Games is really good at that as well. I think we would have had sometimes our games in Gold Coast 218, 2,000 or 3,000 people in the stands. They had Mexican waves going, and they had people on the mic trying to gear up the crowd. So I guess that's all taking shape. And I think bowls being such a high participated sport, I think it's always going to be in good stead to be in favour with the Commonwealth Games in terms of being a sport that will be played for years to come. I'd be very sad if it wasn't, and I don't hold the answers to why it wouldn't be. But for me, I think you only have to look at the participation numbers around Australia, and in terms of, and I can't speak of Canada, I'm sorry, but our participation numbers are through the roof, absolutely through the roof. People are going out and enjoying lawn bowls and barefoot bowls, especially COVID times, being outdoor. They can grab a drink, something to eat, and just chill outside and have a bowl. So that's where the game's at. And we're actually leaving other sports behind in that area because we are outdoor. So for a lot of the indoor sports may suffer because they don't have that opportunity. But if I was to think off the top of my head, like a sport like table tennis or something, it's in a stadium. Maybe they do it outside in beer gardens. Like just thinking outside the square, if they were to try and change up how they wanted to do it. The beach volleyball at the Commonwealth Games is a huge winner. It's on the beach. You can't go wrong. Yeah. So you can see why the numbers and crowds are so good at the beach volleyball. But, we're doing great things in the game. I know the Commonwealth Games association and everyone involved knows that. So I think bowls is in a great position to be able to keep their spot. And I think the best thing is under the World Bowls banner, the sport's always working together well on a continuous basis to see how we can create initiatives to promote the game. So I think everyone's doing their bit, and fingers crossed we can maintain our position in the Commonwealth Games.
So one of the changes that they've actually put in for this coming Commonwealth Games is mandatory colored bowls. So red set and a blue set for teams, and you either play red or blue. You know who's who and what team's what. What are your thoughts on that kind of a change?
Well, I actually like it. I haven't experienced the World Indoor and Potters and that with the green and red. I actually do like it. I don't think I've ever in all my years watching PBA bowls ever heard a complaint about it. I haven't actually heard someone go, "Oh, why don't they use other colours?" So clearly it's not broken in that regard. I think at that level, when you're only looking at 5 men and 5 women in each team, it's not like you're looking to cater for 30 players from each country that has to get a whole set of bowls for those colours. So I think it's a good thing. I think for TV it'll be really good. Once again, it's new, so it's topical. But like anything, it'll just be another conversation down the track. Part of the Commonwealth Games under the bowls umbrella. I look at what cricket's just done now here in Australia, and I'm pretty sure it's Test cricket all worldwide now. They've got numbers and names on the back, whereas Test cricket never had that up until probably about 5 years ago, and no one even speaks about it now. So, but at the start, it was, oh my God, they've got numbers and names on the back of their shirts. Wow, what are they doing? Test cricket. So to transition, I'm sure the players, the countries will just adapt. And then once they've got that set of bowls, off they go. And it's going to be great to be able to see country versus country, colour by colour, I think. And, so I think it's another good angle to the game. And from a spectator point of view, I think it'll be fine.
So you do have quite a presence online, social media, your own website, and you're a mainstay on Australian programming, the Bowls Show. So has it always been a goal to be on the media side of bowls to help promote the game?
I definitely sort of fell into it. I think one of the main things that started that was I was the only Victorian to play in the 2006 Commonwealth Games. And the Commonwealth Games were in Melbourne. So the phone was ringing a fair bit in terms of local media. So that all happened so quick. I didn't see it coming. And then from there, I seek to get some media training. And it was something I enjoyed doing, knowing that, the bottom line is I get to promote the sport and get the game out there. And if anything gets a high number of views, or I can collaborate with a brand, and that's all about getting the sport noticed, I've really enjoyed that. So been lucky to work with Bowls Australia at head office and out on the road in club development, and work with Bowls Australia on many initiatives. So if one of those initiatives revolves around a media campaign or something, and it's about helping the sport, I've loved to be involved. Early days was very nervy, didn't know what to do. I've watched back old clips gone, really, did I speak that bad? How bad was my hair? Oh my God, Barry, you look like you just fell out of bed. But no, I did. I went and got some media training, and it helped a lot. And I'm very lucky to, have been given the position and been asked to help out over the years. And kudos to Bowls Australia, who've been lucky enough and done a great job in securing a lot of corporate partners, which helps the sport and help us have a bowl show and radio podcast and so on. So without these corporate partners, we can't do it without them. And our fellow Jackaroos are doing really well when they get the opportunity as well to get out there and speak and promote the game.
So speaking about that, you've got, if you look at YouTube, you've got a bunch of videos. Bowls and Beyond is one of them, where you talk about different parts of the game. Something as simple of what to put in your bowls bag and what you should have on on hand in case something changes in the environment. These kind of training videos, and on your website you offer training as well. How big is it for you to try to give back all the stuff that you've learned to the Bulls community?
Yeah, great question, Daryl. When I was young, I was fortunate. When I was 16, I had a gentleman come and join my club. So back in 1998, there was probably well over 2,000 clubs in Australia. An absolute legend of the sport comes and joins the club I was playing at. Like, the chances were obviously, 1 in 2,000. But, been there, done it, competed in the Commonwealth Games in Edmonton, Canada, and he basically mentored me and gave me all these great life lessons in the sport and where he'd travelled and what he'd done. And I felt like I was literally being schooled every day, and how lucky I was to be educated on the game. He taught me little things about preparing for slow greens and quick greens, and he even spoke about when media comes around, how to deal with media. So the amount of education he gave me that he'd learnt was so beneficial, and I've felt along my journey, at any opportunity I can get to pass that on to fellow bowlers or people coming through, I'll do the same. So the website's basically around my training and around what a lawn bowler gets up to in their spare time in terms of getting in the gym and maybe doing some promotional work and so on. So I was lucky to have a scholarship at the Victorian Institute of Sport. So in Victoria, there's a full Institute of Sport where you'll train with aerial skiers, you'll train with weightlifters, athletes of all sports, swimming, and I got to train with them and around them daily as a scholarship holder. And that was the environment that trained my mind to go, wait a minute, this isn't just a game I play on the weekend. This is a sport that I'm an athlete in. And so I want to help people when I train them, maybe eat better, prepare smarter, and know that when it's going to be rain, it's going to be slow greens, quick greens, that we've got a mechanism ready in their training that they can roll out come game day. So I'm really passionate about my coaching, and I've been lucky to mentor a few juniors over the years. And yeah, it's a position I'm humbled by, and like I said, to be part of the Jackaroos for a few years now, a lot of the information I've gained from those around me, my peers, and my coaches, and that I just want to grab it and share it. Don't ask me to write a book. I'm not. I think that I could maybe do a documentary series with some other bowlers or something cool like you guys are doing. But yeah, no, I think there's a lot of information out there, and one I'm really doing a lot of work on at the moment is helping bowlers get away from more of the traditional style of delivering a bowl. And that is now the modern way, and you'll see 9 times out of 10 everyone that delivers a bowl on TV do it with their body weight moving forward. So it's something that's happened in the sport probably about 15 to 20 years now, as opposed to the you'll see the photo back in the 70s and 80s of someone delivering a bowl, and they'll be back foot will still be on the mat, and they'll be down watching on the follow through. You won't see those anymore. The bowler is already up, walking off the mat and following their bowl. So that is fact. That's happening. And so the body weight delivery is here, and it's up to the players to adapt now. And I'm really excited about helping players with that, because I became a bodyweight bowler about 10 years ago when I started playing on slower greens overseas and stuff. And it was through the help of Steve Glasson and Robbie Dobbins, etc., that helped me change my technique, and yeah, so that's something really exciting about my training, and I love to help others with.
So going back to the website there, pretty nice website. We were clicking through it the other night, Daryl and me, sort of seeing the different things on there. One thing we both did notice that you are involved with the marketing and branding of wine. So how exactly did you get into the marketing or branding of wine?
Yeah, you've done your homework all right. Yes, great question. I've got a bottle here, of course. So there it is. That's a BLEST Sav Blanc. So what BLEST is just my name in short, BLEST, Barrie Lester. But It was a very, very chance moment, gentlemen. I was at a tournament. After the game, you go inside, you have a refreshment, sit down, have a chat with your opposition as you do, and you just ask them what they do and vice versa. And the gentleman I played against, his name was Glenn Skelton, and he owned a large wholesale liquor alcohol business. So, and it was great chatting to him about that and getting to get to know him. And within about a month's time, I was sitting in his office in his house, and he was telling me that he wants to bring out a bottle of BLEST wine and sell it in bowls clubs. So that's how quickly it happened. And the only reason it happened is because Glenn is an absolute gentleman, and he just wanted to support me and my family. And that was about 6 months out from the 2018 Commonwealth Games. So he said, Barry, we'll work together, we'll collaborate. I'll have you do some coaching clinics at my club, and vice versa. We'll create a wine range. And straight away, we partnered up with Bowls Australia, and 50 cents to every bottle of wine sold went into Bowls Australia's disaster relief fund. And the money from there goes into helping clubs that go through any natural disasters such as fire and flood and any theft and so on. So we're sold out. We are sold out, but it's a new year. Watch this space. We'll see what we can do. The red wine went really quickly, and the white wine, there's a little bit left in certain parts, my pantry being one. But yeah, it was a great thing. Would I have ever thought I'd have my name or brand on a wine bottle? No. But I will say this, the role of a Jackaroo, the role of an athlete, and I said it earlier about the sacrifices and the time and the invested commitment. There are many juggling acts to happen. You've got to juggle work, family life, and that, and you cannot do it without the support of your employer. And an extension of that, you cannot do it without the people around you. So if that's sponsors, certain networks, any supporters. So to be able to do what we do, we really do appreciate those people around us in our corners. And Steve's Liquor is the name of the liquor company, but they've been a huge supporter of me and my family, and I couldn't really have done it without them. There's been tough times along the journey, and this was a great thing that fell on my lap, and I'm forever grateful for it. So being able to network with people within the sport is something, it's quite important.
So you mentioned that the wine helps to support the disaster relief in Australia. Notice that you do a lot of work with charity, bringing awareness to things. I know that when you talked about having the hairstyle for the BPL, that was also awareness. I would love to hear what kind of things you're passionate about as far as supporting and bringing awareness to. And the second question is, are we able to get that wine in Canada?
Oh, Daryl, for the right price, we can do anything, mate. I'm hoping it tastes better than whatever's in your mug right now. Anyway, so. No, look, I'll see what I can do in that department. I would love to. I had some inquiries in another country last year, so we'll see what we can do. But as hopefully BLEST wines grow, hopefully we can get into some more countries. But yeah, so I guess what I love to do is if there's something that's close to me, I like to, I guess, utilise my position, and it helps me stay humbled, I guess, to be able to help produce or promote any really important messages. So, unfortunately, I've witnessed close friends lose loved ones through breast cancer. So years ago, I grew a big beard, not quite as big as yours, Michael. Nowhere near as big. Grew my hair long, and I didn't touch my hair and beard for about 18 months, and then shaved it all off and made about $3,000 or $4,000 through donations of the bowls community, and and through social media. So I guess the question's why not? A friend of mine, a really good friend of mine, was suffering from bowel cancer. So I auctioned off a set of bowls and made $1,200 and just donated that to bowel cancer. So I guess why not? the bowls were slightly aged and meant a lot to me. They were a set of bowls I'd used at, Commonwealth Games and that, but they were probably going to just be put in the garage. But, I want to promote these messages in my community, e.g. the bowls community, because they're important messages and they're close to me. And my wife suffers from a condition called endometriosis, and she has done for 10 years now. And the colour for that is yellow. So we wore yellow ribbons last year in the BPL. I happen to wear yellow ribbon in my cornrows.
Yep.
But it's a conversation starter, and I guess the result I was after is to get the message out there. And when I say it does keep me humbled, the fact that I did, the fact that I did get messages from people all around the world through my network saying, Barrie, thank you. My wife, my sister, my mum or whatever suffers from symptoms. We actually went and got her looked at, and now we found out she has endometriosis. So to make that impact is what it's all about. So I'm passionate about friends. I'm passionate about family. I'm passionate about the people who have supported me. And if I can repay that favour in terms of promoting a message and making sure that, we're all working together, that's what I'll aim to do. And, but I really love animals. I'm a bit of an animal lover. I'm a country boy. And, so anything I can do that in that space moving forward as well, I'm pretty keen to do too. So, but the current one I'm really passionate about, as you heard me mention before, is carbon footprint. I'm an ambassador for sports environment over here in Australia, and we are helping bowls clubs and sports clubs all around the nation know what their carbon footprint is and what are they doing with their current sporting environment and how are they leaving it for the next people to come along. What is your plastic usage, your paper towel usage, and so on and so on. So we can all do a little bit better in that space and know that, we're not affecting landfill and our environment too much.
Quite a many things there that you've been involved with, and it's actually quite a admirable thing to, as you're saying, use your sort of status or your position that you have there in Australia and kind of use it for the greater good, which is always an important thing to do, try and pass it on to anyone. So very admirable there. Kind of leading with that in regards to sort of your status. So your play on the Jackaroo's national team, what sort of advice would you have for athletes that are looking up to you and wanting to potentially reach their national team or make it to that international stage someday?
I think the key word there, Michael, was athletes. So we need to, and I think if in general the sport all around the world needs to continue to be spoken about mainstream and in a serious manner, is that they need to know that these bowlers are out there. They are treating themselves like athletes. They're doing all they can in their training. And it might be only a small thing like going for a walk a couple of days a week, or it might be monitoring your food intake and eating a bit better. But that's someone with that athlete mindset. Don't have to look like an athlete, We know there's many people out there that play sports that might not necessarily fit that mould as an athlete, in terms of weightlifters, etc. But they do what they can within their sport. So us lawn bowlers, we treat our game seriously. We love the game and we are doing all we can to be the best we can. So I think for anyone coming through, finding out what levels you want to get to, what goals you want to reach, and then what on the back of that you need to do to reach them. And that will, a lot of it will revolve around doing a lot of the extra things in terms of your training and your preparations and the mental side. I think when I look at, and I think anyone probably agrees, when you look at any game of bowls, whether it's on a YouTube or a live stream or whatever, you'll notice even the best, at some stage there'll be a very strong mental side or component to what they're doing, whether it's tactics, trying to stay composed, have patience, all that kind of stuff is all mental, and then the physical is the actual action of delivering that bowl under that mental environment. So then focusing on that a lot. So it may be reading motivational books or watching motivational movies or listening to podcasts or whatever it may be, but working on your mental side as well. And the one for me that always stands out is surrounding you with other people that, one, want to support you and what you're doing, and two, that have similar mindset, similar motivators. So if you can lean on someone else that's sort of on the same direction, they might be doing it in their workforce, or they might be doing it in something else. But the environment you place yourself in is so important. And I have a few quotes I stick by too, a few motivators that sort of in the back of my mind that I keep going by. I know a big one I used in 2016 at the World Championships. We lost to England in the triples final on an extra end. You're trying to win a world title and you're losing on an extra end. That is what it is at the time. You're gutted, you're shattered, you're one delivery away from a gold medal at a world title. But how long do you hold on to that for? Is it days or weeks or months? It can't be that long. And so a motto I used within 2 or 3 weeks of losing that particular game was a Bob Seger quote, Bob Seger song called "Turn the Page." And my dad used to play it growing up. He's a big Bob Seger fan, and which I am too. But so come January 1, 2017, I literally said goodbye to the heartache and I guess the feeling of didn't quite get that gold. Were we proud of our efforts? And yes, we were. And did we play great? Yes, we did. But I felt days after the World Championships, I was really worried about my performance moving forward, looking back. Whereas I said to myself, no, I have to start the new year looking forward, being a Commonwealth Games selection year. And I ended up having one of the best years of my life. I got #1 bowl of the year. I won a lot of big titles, and it all started with my mindset. New year, new mindset.
That's a really powerful message, and I think a lot more bowlers need to hear stuff like that. Too often they just focus on the technique and the motor skills and delivering a bowl, and there's just so much more to the game that needs to be taken into account. And I think what you said just there is a really powerful message that people definitely need to hear. That's really great.
Thank you. Yeah, it's not always easy talking about it. Life is a roller coaster. There's a lot of ups and downs. We're all fighting our own little battles, but especially with COVID, I haven't seen family for a couple of years and stuff like that. It's not easy. But have we had it good up here on the Gold Coast? Yes. So I'm a realist as well. So, but at the same time, one of the best things Gary Willis, our Australian coach, said recently is with COVID at the moment, one of the best things to do is just keep training, conditioning yourself like there is literally a big event on tomorrow. So, and COVID will do what COVID does and that environment. But yeah, keep lining yourself up like you got a big event that starts tomorrow.
In talking with, we had a talk with Karen Murphy and Gary and also Lindsay Clark. And one of the big themes that came out of those talks was good people. That the Jackaroos, the coaching staff there, the foundation that they try to build upon is good people. Like plain and simple, we want really good people, support network, all that kind of stuff. How important has that been to you with all this COVID stuff being on?
Yeah, thank you, technology. Victoria probably have had it worse, followed by New South Wales. So separated. I saw one of the Jackaroo players last week and hadn't seen him for 6 months, and that's pretty good. Yeah. In person, and I was like, "How long's it been?" And he's like, "I think it's been 6 months." It's like, wow, really? You go from seeing these people nearly weekly around events, or at least monthly, and then you don't see them for 6 months. So, but having that strong bond, great culture, regular Zoom meetings, and having our own level of commitment to the program. So, weekly reporting, monthly reporting, knowing that, we're all doing our own bit, our own training, and that we're all trying to motivate each other. We're very, very well connected when it comes to birthdays, anyone that has babies, weddings, anything like that. It's all celebratory. It's all If it happens to one, it happens to all. It's one tight-knit unit, and we've created that culture for a good at least 10 years now, and it's something we pride ourselves on, and we carry our cards around with us, our commitment cards. We've got to keep them on us at all times, and yeah, we're really big on trying to motivate each other and be there for each other through the good and the bad.
Well, that's it's very interesting just hearing the perspective from the Australian side of it there with like the heavy commitment, and as I've seen the commitment cards a couple times I've played for Canada, where it's just an interesting whole different level for the national team there. Was there anything else that you had to bring up here, Daryl?
No, I think that was great. That ran my questions. I guess the only other one that I have, which I'm surprised I haven't asked anybody before, is when I go to Australia, and I've been to the Gold Coast a few times and talking with people, it's almost a couple days, maybe even a week, before I actually learn someone's real name, because I hear it's just constant nicknames and last names and all this kind of stuff. What is it about the Australian culture that's it seems so fun, and that people just have nicknames like coming everywhere?
Well, yeah, I guess, when I look at you two, within days, or even if we went for a game of bowls together in the next, for a couple of hours, Daryl, you'd be Dazzler to me, straight up. You'd just be Daz or Dazzler. Mickey, why Michael, and then we'd find some extension to that to find another nickname in there. I guess we don't try to take things too seriously when we don't have to. I guess that is our culture. I don't know. I think it rolls on from person to person. You walk into the local bowls club, there's hardly a serious conversation going on anywhere. If there's people sitting around tables, if you went over and asked them what they're talking about, it's going to be probably sport. It's going to have something banterish about it. It's going to be jovial, and that's what we do. It's what we love, and we I don't know. Sometimes we can probably be a little bit too relaxed, a little bit too laid back. But where's the fun in that? But I don't know. Gold Coast, yes. Australia wide, I think we've got slight little accent changes around the country as well. They're only slight, but you go down to Tassie, they'll call you cobber. So you wouldn't call anyone probably in Queensland, New South Wales, maybe a little bit of Victoria, but cobber's probably not a word we use much, but it's a great word. We love cobber. It's a great Australian word. So there's a lot of cool words we use, and they're our sort of own way of going about it. You guys are probably familiar with fair dinkum and all that. And bloody oath and all that. But it's just how we roll. But
Perfect.
I've been watching a bit of Harry Mack. I'm a big Harry Mack fan, and he's been on that Omegle, is it? And he interviews these people around the world, and you hear their different slangs and languages and stuff, the way they run with words and stuff. And even like when I played in Hong Kong, they'll call a drive in Australia, a quick bowl, a fire, fire shot. So it's just weird how there's different words. What do you got for me? What do you call a weighted shot in Canada? What do you got? Something you love to go to?
A drive, but we have slang for it. Thunder.
Yeah.
Throw the thunder.
Yeah. Well, nice. Yeah, we'll say upshot, runner, top, like UK, they say timer. But I've got my nickname. One of my nicknames is Snelly, and that's purely because of who I mentioned earlier, my mentor, John Snell, right. OAM. He, long story short on that one, I was playing in a tournament, and there was a newspaper article that John had spoken to the local media that I was coming up through the ranks, and John Snell said this about young Barrie Lester, and anyway, everyone started calling me Snelly Junior, young Snelly, and anyway, it really caught on, and everyone's just started calling me Snelly, and John being such a legend of the game, Hall of Famer and so on. A couple of years later, he came and watched me play for Victoria at a big event, and I'm running up and down the green playing shots and stuff, and everyone's yelling out, "Shot Snelly, well done Snelly," and the look on his face was like, "Oh my God, this is so cool," that like my protege is being called Snelly. So he's a legend in the world of bowls, and I love the fact that through me his name can continue on.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's just been interesting to go there and just hear so many nicknames and have no idea where they came from.
Okay.
And being able to ask people, it's like, how did you get called? Dealing with Bulls Australia to get in touch with you, it was always Baz. And, Barrie went out like the first email, and then it was just Baz after that. So just fantastic. I love it.
Yeah, there's some classics like Nathan Rice, 6'3" or 4. He's about that thick. Lurch. And that's been around forever. Aaron Sheriff, Omar Sharif. So everyone knows him as Omar. No one calls him Aaron. Corey Wedlock. He's a big man. We call him Bear or Neck. So no one calls him Corey. So. It's weird when we do have to, us players, when we do commentate some of the games, actually, we only call them Bear and Neck and Lurch and Omar, and we have wait a minute, there's probably people watching that aren't familiar with their nicknames, so we better call them by their first name. So, so it's one of those ones.
There he is.
Yeah, hey, Ovo, they're the boys from Canada. Look, Daryl and Michael, look at that. You want to go to Canada one day?
So I guess if we're staying on the accent part of things there, Daryl's currently wearing what most people would call sweater. In my area of the world, we call it a bunny hug. Have you ever heard of a bunny hug before?
Not a bunny hug, definitely a sweater, but that's a hoodie every day of the week in Australia. Just a hoodie, yeah. So we rock the hoodies in bowls over here, or a vest, so just like a sleeveless jacket. The snapbacks are getting more popular, and we can bowl in singlets now too, which is good. That's been all approved. So on a hot day, if your club allows singlets to be worn, you can get out and bowl in a singlet too now, which is good because female golf sort of wear the singlets, tennis players wear the singlets. Yeah. We were speaking earlier about transitions in traditions. One thing I do at my club that hopefully starts to gain a bit of traction is as soon as the greens are available of a morning before I'm running an event, it's there's no structured roll up. It's just free for all to go out and warm up. I'm a big one on that. If the green's available and the game's not for another hour, I just let people go out and warm up. So, I think that's a good one because, you see so many sports, they get to warm up for like half an hour, I just want to see that one grab a bit of momentum in the game at definitely club level. Don't know about other stuff, but I think it's a warm-up in sports, very, very important, and I think more than 2 end roll-ups, pretty cool when you can get it before a tournament.
That's awesome. Well, Mike, any more questions?
No, that's all I had here for today.
Well, Barrie, on behalf of Mike and myself, we want to say thank you so much for coming on the show, for being an Australian representative. Hopefully we can get this out not just to Canada but to the world as well. Show them who you are, another side, not just who's on the green. And you're such a fantastic representative of the sport and of Bulls Australia. It's been really inspirational to talk to you, and we really, really appreciate it.
Oh, you're giving me goosebumps. With my hair standing up. Thanks. You say goosebumps over there?
We do. Yeah, we do.
You beauty. Thanks so much, gentlemen. It's been a pleasure, and it's the beauty of the game. We connect worldwide, and you can't beat it. That's community for you, whether it's over the internet or not. So thanks for having me, and keep up the good work. Anytime the game gets promoted out there, we're all winning. So thanks so much.
Awesome. Thank you very much.